Level 1. The Film Student. You're 22 years old, and you've never been on a real film set. You get into film school on your third application. The acceptance letter sits on your desk for 3 days before you open it, because you're afraid of what it might say. You show up to orientation with a secondhand DSLR and a notebook filled with ideas you've been carrying since you were 14. The professors are working professionals who treat your ambitions with measured patience. They've seen 1,000 of you. Most won't make it. They don't say this out loud, but you feel it in the way they grade. Your first short film costs $800. You borrow the camera, beg your friends to act, shoot everything in a single weekend in your apartment and a parking garage 3 blocks away. It's technically unsteady and tonally confused. You watch the rough cut 3 times in a row, each time seeing something different. The moments that work, the moments that fail, the gap between what you imagined and what exists on screen. That gap is where your education actually begins. You submit the film to 3 student festivals. It gets into 1. Nobody outside the auditorium ever sees it. But you directed something. Someone pressed play. Someone watched what came out of your head. That's enough. Level 2. The short film circuit. You graduate with a thesis film that screens at Sundance's short film program. Not the competition, the program. The distinction matters. Competition films get reviewed. Program films get politely attended. You sit in the back row of a screening room in Park City, Utah, watching strangers watch your work in the dark, reading their body language the way a surgeon reads vitals. When it lands, you feel it. When it doesn't, you feel that too. The film gets you a manager, not an agent, a manager, which in Hollywood means someone who believes in you but can't legally submit you for work yet. She takes 15% of the nothing you're making. She also makes 20 calls on your behalf that open 20 conversations that lead to exactly 1 meeting at a production company where a junior development executive tells you she loves your visual language and then never calls again. You make 2 more short films over the next 18 months. Both of them are better than the thesis film. Neither of them gets into Sundance. You supplement your income by shooting weddings and corporate training videos for a dental equipment company. You are learning that the career and the craft are 2 completely separate problems. Both require your full attention. Level 3. The commercial director. A music video changes everything, or at least it changes enough. A friend's band lets you direct their video for $2,000 in creative control. You spend $4,000 of your own money and 3 months of prep. The video gets placed on a streaming playlist. 60,000 views in the first week. An agency spots it. Suddenly, you're directing commercials. This is where careers are actually built, though nobody in the industry admits it. You direct ads for insurance companies, athletic wear, a regional fast food chain. The budgets are larger than anything you've touched. The crews are professional. The craft services are spectacular. And the constraints are absolute. Every shot committee approved, every frame tested in focus groups, every idea laundered through 12 layers of client approval before it reaches you. You learn to fight for the right things and surrender on everything else. You learn that the best commercial directors are the ones who can make someone else's vision feel like their own. You accumulate a reel. The reel gets you better commercials. The better commercials get you meetings with studios. You're 31 years old. You've directed 72 commercials and 0 feature films. The gap between those 2 numbers is the entire geography of your ambition. Level 4. The independent film. The script arrives from a writer you met at a festival 3 years ago. 40 pages of something that feels true. You develop it together for a year, rewriting every scene until it's unrecognizable from the original, but somehow more itself. You take it to every financier who will take a meeting. Everyone loves the script. Nobody wants to fund it. Eventually, a French co-production company offers $1.2 million with creative control and a 14-day shooting schedule. You say yes before they finish the sentence. You shoot in a Midwestern city that offers a 40% tax incentive and looks enough like the story that nobody will notice. You're on set 16 hours a day. Your lead actress is someone you fought 6 months to cast against the financier's recommendations. She is extraordinary. She makes every scene better than what was on the page. The film premieres at Toronto. The reviews call it precise, controlled, deeply felt, which means critics respect what you've done without fully understanding it yet. A small distributor picks it up. It plays in 11 cities. It makes $340,000 at the box office on a $1.2 million budget. On paper, it's a failure. Level 5, the studio hire. A studio calls. They have a mid-budget thriller with a script in good shape and a release date already on the calendar. They want a director who has demonstrated taste without demanding final cut. That's you. The budget is $28 million. The crew is 200 people. The star is someone whose last 3 films opened above $40 million. None of this is yours the way the indie was yours. You're a skilled craftsman brought in to execute something designed by committee. You know this. You accept it. Because the education available on a shoot this size, the technical resources, the department heads with 40 years of experience, the rhythm of a studio machine, is worth more than your bruised ego. You fight quietly for the things that matter. The ending, which the studio wants changed. The supporting cast, which they want to fill with development deals. The composer, who they want to assign without your input. You win 2 of these 3 fights. You learn which battles are winnable. The film opens well. Not spectacularly. Well. The reviews call it competent and well-crafted, words that feel like polite dismissal, but actually signal the studio trusts you with more. They call again within 6 months. Level 6, the franchise. The offer arrives in a conference room with 12 people in it, a sequel to a film that made $800 million globally. The budget is $175 million. The schedule is 8 months across 4 countries. There are 400 visual effects shots. The studio has approval over the cast, the script, the cut, the score, and the marketing campaign. You have approval over what you wear to set. You take the job. This is the compromise every filmmaker of your generation has to decide about, the franchise that funds the film you actually want to make. You spend 18 months of your life on something that will never fully be yours. The film opens to $180 million domestically, $620 million worldwide. Your name is now attached to a number that changes every conversation. Studios that wouldn't return your calls 3 years ago are now scheduling your assistant's call with their assistant. Offers arrive for projects you'd have killed for a decade ago and now feel nothing about. You spend 2 years declining things. You spend 2 years learning what you actually want to make with the leverage the franchise has given you. The franchise is not the destination. It's the currency. The question is what you buy with it. Level 7, the Auteur. Your own film. Fully your own. Final cut. Director approval on every department head. 18 months of prep. A $45 million budget that feels like $10 million after the franchise. A story you've been carrying for 15 years. Something personal, something structurally unusual, something no studio would have greenlit without your name attached. You hire a cinematographer whose sensibility matches yours so precisely that you spend the first week of shooting finishing each other's sentences. You cast actors who've never worked at this scale and watch them discover what they're capable of. The film takes 2 years to complete, including post. It premieres at Cannes. The jury awards you the Grand Prix, the second prize, which in Cannes means you made something they deeply respected but couldn't unanimously agree on. The box office is disappointing. $28 million domestic on a $45 million budget. The studio recoups on streaming. None of that touches what the film means to the people it reaches. You receive letters for years. A 20-year-old film student writes to tell you it's the reason she wants to direct. You answer the email. Because someone answered yours once. Level 8, the icon. You're 63 years old and you've made 15 films. Not all of them are good. 3 of them you can barely watch. 2 of them failed in ways that were your fault, and you know exactly which decisions caused the failures. But some of them are extraordinary in ways that still surprise you. Some of them did things that cinema is still doing in your debt. You're asked to sit on the Cannes jury. You give a masterclass at AFI that 1,200 people attend. Young directors interview you for podcasts and film journals and ask about your process, your influences, your vision. You try to give them honest answers. You tell them the truth. You learned more from failure than from success, More from constraints than from resources. More from your actors than from any book on filmmaking ever written. You tell them the gap between what you imagined and what you made never closed. Not once, not in any of the 15 films. You chased something that stayed ahead of you for 40 years, and you would do it exactly the same way again. The retrospectives begin at museums, your films screened in proper cinemas, discussed by scholars who find things in them you never consciously put there. Some of it is projection. Some of it is real. You've stopped being able to tell the difference, and that feels correct. One evening, after a Q&A in a theater in London, a young woman stops you at the exit. She's maybe 23. She has a worn notebook under her arm, and the particular look of someone who has wanted something for a long time and isn't sure how to ask for it. She asks you what it takes. You tell her the truth. Show up. Keep showing up. The rest is luck and time. She writes it in the notebook. You watch her walk away toward whatever comes next. And somewhere right now, a teenager is watching a film that made them feel something they don't have words for yet. Something that makes them reach for a camera. They don't know what it costs, the missed relationships, the years of shooting weddings, the franchises they'll make and resent, the personal films that will lose money and matter more than anything. They'll find out. They always find out. The cycle begins.